Hey gang, I'm back. My claim adjuster, he left a few minutes ago, well, about a half hour ago. Had me some lunch. Had some leftover pork chops, mashed potatoes, and gravy. It was yummy. When I was eating, I was reading another report. I forget which news this was out of, but they're blaming the drastic sale of houses, like the new home sales plummeting, existing sales home plummeting. They're blaming it on the auto industry. It said that the people that went out and they got new and used vehicles, when the COVID money was still happening. So, this was been a few years ago. And they were able to add that COVID money onto their paycheck per se, because a lot of dealerships were, anything they could do to get a car sold. So these people's got these car payments, their DTI is way too high. Their DTI was way too high then. They, when they bought a house, then they go out and they get a car on top of that. Well, they got high rates on their cars, and now that, the people that haven't bought a house but went out and bought new and used vehicles, well, because their DTI is too high, they're not qualifying for these loans. Now, it's ironic how all the forbearance, all that stuff ended back in October. So up until then, they were still approving people to do, oh, well, you can get this, well, we can add that in, or you got this, well, that's not the case anymore. But it's funny how the housing industry is blaming the auto industry because of all this stuff falling through. It is to a point. It's just like with these FHA people. I can tell you right now that the reason a lot of them people are in default, well, one, that they didn't need to be buying a house to begin with. They didn't truly qualify. It's them ninja loans, like it did during the GFC, before the GFC, but they just they put a different title on it so it doesn't sound like it, ninja loan. But it's they got in there. A lot of them are on these variable rates. A lot weren't, but it's even off. The heck is this guy doing? He's pulling that guy with a log chain. Okay. I'm not surprised what I see around this town. But, yeah, your interest rate's fixed. And a lot of people, they bought into that hype where your payment's going to stay the same. And now that the property taxes went up, oh, man. I don't know why I'm getting sick or something. But anyway, bear with me. So their property taxes went up, the insurance went up, that's your escrow, so that's raised your mortgage payment. And, they were okay. They were pretty well strapped at what they had originally, but you go add that onto the your mortgage payment going up, and you've also went out and bought a new car or used car or two cars or however many cars you decide to buy for your household. So those payments don't change. But when you got one that you can't afford anymore, you gotta start, robbing Peter to pay Paul. And, I mentioned before, that only happens so long until it catches up with you. And that's why all this stuff is finally coming out. But they'll never admit that it was ninja loans, that it was putting people into, properties that didn't qualify. Realtors were doing whatever they had to do to make the sale. Same with the lenders. So I'm now that the first quarter is over, I'm curious to see what the second quarter ends up being, the number wise. The gas company is out here doing something. They got all this all tore up. But I just wanted to tell you guys that little article I was reading, because I'm always reading stuff. I like to stay up on the news, and I like economics. I've always liked economics. But my truck, some of you guys have asked about it. I had to get two different estimates. The one estimate was from the body shop over near Dayton, and that was one amount. I think it was like $7,800 or something like that. It was crazy, just how much damage that guy did with his camper. And so then I had to go. Now, they didn't look at the underneath of it. Like I said, it drug my truck 2 foot sideways towards my camper. So, I mean, if it drug it much further, it would have hit my camper, drug it into my truck into my camper. So I went and got another estimate for up underneath to get the alignment fixed and anything else that was damaged, because as I mentioned before, when he hit it and he drug it, it twisted my steering. So the first thing I did when I got in the truck that day when it happened was I checked to make sure the truck, it wasn't leaking anything, and it steered, and it did. But it does steer. I have to slightly steer towards the left because it pulls towards the right. And I forget the list of stuff. I don't want to read it, so I'm driving, but it come out. The estimate for the underneath, and this is with my discount because I get a fleet discount, is $2,883. So we're about $10,500 worth of damage in my truck just from that guy hitting it, But so I'm going to pull up out here and get this scheduled in, because he told me, go ahead and you do that because I get a discount, whereas if he called it in to get it worked on, they wouldn't give the discount. But I'll get this fixed first, and then after that, he's going to get a hold of the body shop over near Dayton, where the dealership is at, and get that scheduled in, because they worked on it last time from when that chick rear-ended me about a year ago. It was a year ago next week she slammed into me. And I had to have an MRI done because I got to where I couldn't sleep. My limbs were falling asleep on me, and of course I was getting my physical therapy at the chiropractor and stuff, and he was working on me. And thank God for my chiropractor. He's the best guy. Roman, if you ever see this, you're the best chiropractor I know. He knows his stuff, and he got me better. But I still get a little bit of neck pain. But anyway, I had an MRI done, and it showed, I think it was C5 had some damage, and C6 had a little bit of, well, you could tell it also affected that one. But the insurance company, I think that girl had Progressive, and they have fought my insurance company, because I went through my insurance company to get my truck fixed. But hell, they've been fighting him, and he told he told me that they still owe my insurance company almost $1,000 they don't want to pay up. And I told him, I said that my law firm I got, the insurance company is refusing to pay any of my medical bills, and whatever, everything they're taking care of. So they filed a lawsuit against them, and this ain't gonna look good for them. And what was funny was, hey, everybody I game with, Darren, because you're the one that pointed us out, but she pointed out, I didn't notice it when I was taking pictures at the right after the accident happened, because the police showed up, and then they had us move the vehicles to a side road where it wasn't so busy. And there was a dog sitting in the front seat of this car. And Darren, thank you, because she zoomed in and circled on it, so that was kind of cool. Now I go back through my pictures and you can see it, but it didn't catch my eye then. So they ain't got a leg to stand on. I'm willing to go to court. I don't care. I know what happened. And the thing is, You know, they tell you don't text and drive. The second I looked up, when I felt the impact, she had her damn phone in her hand. And I told the officers that showed up, I said, fellas, I said, right now, I'm okay. I said, she had her damn phone in her hand. And they're like, don't worry, we're going to cite her. And the camper hitch I got on the back, I got one of the big sway ones. And if it hadn't been for the hitch, because I was at a dead stop, and my foot was on the brake, and when she hit me, because I had my belt on, it lifted me up out of my seat, and luckily I was able to keep my foot on the brake. But she hit me at 30 miles an hour. I was at a dead stop, and if it hadn't been for the hitch, she'd have been up under the truck. So the hitch took the brunt of the impact, and you know, it really messed her car up. I guess I don't know, maybe I guess I could post all the pictures and stuff, because it's technically public record. But anyway, I'm here at the shop, and well, I thought you guys find that interesting how now the housing industry is blaming the auto industry for the housing industry's downfall. They're you know, they're trying to push blame around when they're all responsible. They were all doing all that shadow bank lending, you know, any type of bank lending, not just shadow banks, but the ninja loans. People didn't qualify, so excuse me, it's all coming back and biting them. And I'm looking forward to good deals. I'm going, like I said, cash is king. You're going to be able to pick stuff up as this year progresses. People's going to be selling off things out of desperation to pay their bills. Most of them's going to try to keep their house. So you'll be able to get some good deals on vehicles, toys, you name it. You'll be able to get some good deals on it. So anyway, stay tuned. I'll keep reporting, you know, things I see and whatever. Comment. You guys got any questions? You know, subscribe to my channel, like it, share it. I appreciate it. See you next time.